Hey Annabel, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Rich. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
That's all right. Nice afternoon for it down in London.
Well, yeah, up here, it's do you know what? It's not raining, which I think I'm going to take as a blessing up in Manchester. It is overcast though.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 10th episode of the 6 sessions and the 1st of February. Not quite sure how we got to 10 already because it's just started out as a bit of a pet project, but it's been fun so far. Each week, I've been lucky enough to chat with someone in the growth space across marketing, sales, and CX. Today's guest is hands down amazing. She recently joined us on the Humans Come First Summit, talking about her work with Hiscox, the insurer, where they broke the mold of insurance marketing and put the customer at the center of their campaign as the hero. So my goal of hanging out with smarter, more interesting people and making them look like I'm smarter in the process is going to be a massive tick box today. So these chats are designed to be short and sweet, but hopefully full of insight. And it's definitely unfiltered, which is what makes it fun. Annabel is an award-winning global marketing leader with experience across both B2B and B2C, from Blue Chip and FTSE 250 companies to financial services, healthcare, and e-commerce. She's notched up work with brands you may have heard of, like Coca Cola. She's one of those rare breed of marketers nailing both the consumer and commercial sides. And with over 25 years of experience, she's repeatedly delivered on the kind of business growth we're all aiming for, with a mix of brand building and effective marketing. She's been part of the C-suite and board level across businesses in UK, Europe, US, Asia, and more recently, she's taken on the roles of consulting and non-exec. You've done too much, Annabel. And not to mention, with the aim of giving back, she's now working with charities and mentoring. So I think we'll all agree she's been nailing the career path, and we're excited to talk growth with her. Annabel, welcome.
Thank you.
It's quite the career path, and I'm like, it's one of those where I'm like, I really hope I get to like 10% of that.
I think all the way through, I've been lucky with the opportunities that have knocked on my door. And as I was talking to my kids the other day, I think you have to grasp them when they appear and not be held back by anything. So about 6 years ago, I was given the opportunity to go and work in Asia for 3 months. And after a quick chat with the family, I packed my bags and went off for 3 months. And it was just one of those opportunities that was too good to turn down.
Was the quick chat from the taxi on the way to the airport? By the way, Mummy's not coming home tonight.
Not quite, but it was very good because my kids would have been quite young at the time, so they'd probably been sort of 7 or 8 or something. So it was just a quick check-in to sort of check that my husband was going to be all right to look after them for 3 months, and he did an amazing job. So the headmaster actually said to me that there wasn't a day where the kids turned up in the wrong uniform or the wrong sports kit. So that was
So first up, we're 2 months into the new year. You've moved into what you last time when we spoke, you were talking about this portfolio career. Yeah. So like, how's it going?
So my aim after leaving Hiscox, ultimately, I'm trying to split my time into thirds. So a third, I want to do sort of paid marketing, some paid marketing consultancy. Ideally, a third, I want to have some non-exec director roles so I can still input into sort of company strategy. And then a third is what I've called giving back. So giving back either through mentoring or working with charities. The first and the third are going well. So I've got 3 clients currently, all from doing very different things with them from different parts of business. I'm also doing some mentoring with the Marketing Academy, which is an amazing organization. And I've been supporting them for the last 3 or 4 years. And then I'm starting to get involved with some charities, just really thinking about what I do through, there's another amazing organization called Marketing Kind, and I recently became a member of them. So I just need to get my first non-exec director job, and then I'll be hopefully have that balance right.
What kind of businesses are you aiming to kind of start netting for?
Ideally, so if you fast forward 3 or 4 years, I'd like to have sort of a real mix. I'd love to have one that's a startup, so in those very, very sort of early years, one that's probably a little bit more established, and one that's in between. At the moment, it's quite a long process and long journey to secure your first NED role. So what I'm really focused on at the moment is ones that do have a sort of ambition that they want to go after. And one that have sort of that strong values base that really resonates with me. So I've got applications in for a couple at the moment, and hopefully they'll proceed to sort of interview and securing my first role at some stage.
No. So how was 2020 for you? So you've started moving into the coaching and mentoring piece. How are you finding those mentors, and like how did you like start those relationships with mentors, and like what is that kind of like process? How are you working with them?
Yeah, so I did a lot of mentoring when I was at Hiscox. So we had a Women at Hiscox program, and often I was asked to mentor women, either through them approaching me directly or through their line managers contacting me. And then when I got involved with the Marketing Academy, what they do is I think I get 4 mentors in a year. So I spoke to 2 of them back in, I think it was sort of October, November time. And literally this week, I've been sent through my next 2. And they're from a full range of backgrounds. And as I said, people should check it out because it is an amazing program. And then I'm always open to help people and to mentor people. When I did the Humans First Summit with you guys, I sort of said if anybody wanted to contact me, they're very welcome to. And I think I got about half a dozen people contact me. And then I spoke to 3. But what people need to realize is that they need to drive it. Yeah. So I've left it. I had 3 conversations, and I've left it with those guys to say, when you need some support and help, when you've got that really sort of hard problem that you're trying to work out, they give me a call or give me an email. So I'm always very happy, very open to people emailing me and asking me for some support. I think it's really, really important. And I really do strongly encourage people to have a mentor, either inside or outside their organization.
So like I couldn't agree more. I have 2 mentors who both mentor me in kind of different aspects, and both kind of like towards growth and like, but from different angles. And I find like those conversations, having that ability to like, just even if it's just sense checking ideas or being able to be challenged on things, because they're not somebody that sits within inside the business, and just being able to be challenged on that stuff is great. But the other thing I find, so I also have a like mentee, like people that I am mentoring as well. And I actually feel like I learn almost as much from like, I'm basically up and down the stream, because I'm being challenged by their challenges, so that I'm starting to think through that. So I find that relationship works really well as well.
I've learned a lot from the conversations that I have, and I have met some. I also sometimes feel very privileged that I have this sort of hour and a half, 2 hours with these people. You know, a lot of them are sort of early into their career, and they have their career plan mapped out. They know what they want to do and what they're trying to do. And at the moment is navigate how to get there. And I'm full of admiration for them, because I can guarantee when I was in my early 20s, I had no idea of ultimately where I was going to end up or what I wanted to do.
Did you have mentors when you were kind of starting out in your career?
No, I didn't. And my first sort of probably 10 years of my career was a little bit dotted around. So I first started up in St Helens, down the road from you.
Yeah.
So probably you think it's a very strange place for Annabel to start her career. So, but there was a factory up there owned by SmithKline Beecham, which I think they sold now. And I first started up there, and my first job was running their sort of production floor. So it's a real baptism of fire for me. So not only was I sort of, quite a, you know, working in a factory, the majority of people are male, and obviously there's I was female, and also I was from Kent, and I was up in Lancashire. So I very quickly had to learn about leadership and management. And I spent probably 3 or 4 years up there, not doing marketing at all, but working very closely with the marketing team that was based in London. And they used to come up a lot and talk about either promotions they were going to do, or changing packaging, or changing formulation. And I was almost their main point of contact up in the factory. And I was really fascinated by what they're doing, and had this real yearning to being the person that could drive the change and drive the difference, rather than being on the receiving end of it. So I then asked to transfer down and spend time with the marketing team. And you know, 20 or 25 years later, I'm still doing it. So I sort of fell into marketing accidentally, but was really quite excited about the opportunity.
I am yet to interview. So predominantly the people I've interviewed doing this so far have been marketers, and I'm yet to interview anybody who hasn't fallen into that marketing role. So I think it's a main trait of marketers.
And also, I think it's one of those things that as a student, either when I was at school or uni, you didn't really know what marketing was. And when I was part of an organisation called Inspiring the Future. So I would go into schools and be one of many people talking to kids about careers. Yep. And they have no idea what you do in marketing because it's one of those sort of non-traditional careers. But what I did do once I started in marketing, I went and I did a CIM course. So I got myself some qualifications in marketing. And then I've always sort of been very, very keen to learn. And I actually did another, I was on a program called the Institute of Real Growth last year, which was all about how to be a sort of driver of real growth through the organization. So I think it's really important wherever you end up that you're constantly challenging yourself and you're constantly learning.
So my next question, you've started to answer it there, was how did you get into marketing? But also, if you were starting again now, do you think you'd end up in the same space you are now?
If I was starting my career again or starting marketing again?
Your career.
Oh, if I was starting my career again, I have always loved what I've done. I must admit, when I was at school and university, I wanted to be a pilot. So my first career choice was I was going to join the RAF, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was at the time, this shows how old I am, I could only fly transport planes in the RAF, and the bit of flying that I really liked was the mad sort of low-level flying or acrobatics and everything like that. So I decided not to do it. But I would have said probably I would end up probably a very similar career. Just because I've thoroughly enjoyed it every step of the way, and I've been lucky enough to work for some great companies and been given some great opportunities. I think probably one thing I'd have done is probably tried to work abroad earlier than I did. So leaving it until I had kids was quite a challenge, and doing it on my own, 3 months away on my own, was quite hard. So I probably would have looked at opportunities earlier in my career to go and get that experience of working in a different culture.
So you've, in your career path, like you've got a lot of like variants, like different sectors, like B2B and things like that. What were the kind of like the trigger points to make you want to switch into different things? So like when you're in a role, what were some of those trigger points that kind of made you want to go into the next role and kind of experience the next thing? So but before you answer that, somebody says that you were amazing to work with and at you're amazing to work with at Hiscox, and you really know your stuff.
Oh, that's very nice. Have to find out who it was. Probably the two big points for me. So one was I've been in quite commercial marketing roles. So I was at Burton's Biscuits, so looking after sort of wagon wheels and jammy dodgers, those classic ones. And I, knew my way around a P&L, and I was very comfortable in going in and having those nitty, negotiations with the buyers of Asda and Tesco about margin and promotion and cost of goods and everything. And I got called up about going to work at Coca Cola, and I thought I have to go and do this because I know my way around P&L, very commercial, but I really need to go and become a really purist consumer marketeer. So that was a key thing for me. And I had 9 years at Coca Cola, and I was lucky enough to work on a real range of their brands there. I mean, that was one of the benefits of that company. I worked on Oasis and Fanta and Schweppes, and then finally on Coca Cola. And after 9 years there, I had this yearning to go somewhere where I felt I could be more accountable and responsible for driving growth. Yep. So, Coke being a massive global business, it was very hard at the end of the year to put your hand on your heart and say, I did that or I drove that, because of just the general size of the business. Yep. And sometimes it could be quite hard to get things through the organization. So I wanted to go one where I knew by the end of the year, I did X, Y, and Z, and it drove that. And also I wanted to go and learn. So this will come up quite a lot, which is I was there going, I don't think I'm learning anymore. And if I'm not learning anymore, what can I really bring to this business? I must admit, at that time, I hadn't quite thought about going to insurance. And it did take quite a few calls to get me to go along for the initial interview. But I was really swayed by the absolute ambition of Hiscox. It was had big, hairy, audacious goals that it was going after. The values, everybody I met was amazing through the interview process, and just how important the consumer was. So every interview I had, that consumer importance came through. So I left a really big, massive organization, but I went to one where I really believed in it, and I went to a bigger job. And I was given the opportunity to really drive change and also learn, because we sold direct to customers. Yep. So I had to very quickly get up to speed with all the acquisition marketing and running e-commerce and everything else. So I sat there going, I can bring a lot, but I can also learn a lot.
Do you feel like, and I'm guessing the answer here, but like, do you feel like having that big marquee, like, brand logo on your CV, do you think that changed the career path or accelerated it? Do you think that helped with like the next steps later down the line?
What, Coca Cola?
So you've had Coca Cola, like you've got Coca Cola on your CV, and you're saying in that role within an organization, you would have had impact, but it's very hard to articulate what that impact is sometimes. So for later roles, do you feel like having Coca Cola on there was like a blessing, or do you feel like the opposite of that is, so like with Hiscox, you could go into an organization where you could have massive impact? How do you feel like that levels out? Do you think like the impact or the brand is going to help in later career?
I don't think having Coca-Cola on my CV now will help me with what I want to do, because it was also now 11 years ago, and so it feels quite a long time ago, I think, to a lot of people. But the training I got there was amazing.
Yep.
And I think it gave me the opportunity then to take all that training, take everything I'd learned and apply it at Hiscox. So everything that Coke gave me, I could lift and shift. And actually, I think that you shouldn't be pigeonholed into a certain type of marketing. I think the training you get, what you learn, those basic core skills of being a marketeer, you can take anywhere.
Yep.
You shouldn't pigeon yourself and say, I'm a B2B marketeer, so I can't go and work in B2C, or I've only done soft drinks, so I can't go do anything else. And I think most modern organizations now want to bring people in from outside those organizations who've got that different thinking, that diversity of thought, and they can bring real benefit to those companies.
So what excites you most about marketing now? So I know you're less focused on kind of the day-to-day kind of marketing stuff, and you're kind of looking at the NED roles and the mentoring stuff. But as marketing as a whole, what does it excite you about it at the moment?
So I just said two things. I think that the whole, if you look at where we are today, a lot of organisations, the country's in a bit of a mess, to say the least. And I think that marketers have got a real opportunity to stand up and be brave and to help their businesses out of this. And it doesn't necessarily need to involve, spending tens or hundreds of millions of pounds on campaigns. But I just think that people out there want brands to be really authentic now, and they want a little bit of sort of personal touch coming through. And I think you can be really smart and bring that and sell that into your company and help them either reignite the growth in their businesses or give them something to aim for. So I think there's a big role for marketers to play. And I think the other element is just around that sort of bringing some positive change. And if you look at where people are, there's a real big thing about diversity now, and diversity beyond. Look at how you hire and bring in that diversity of thinking and thought, and help organisations with how they go beyond sort of gender and race and into everything else. And I just think also that whole bit about sustainability as well, I think is an emerging trend. But I think businesses need to think about what they're going to bring to this world and try and make it a better place, which may sound a little bit, it sounds a bit sometimes like everybody is trying to do purpose. But I just think there's an opportunity there in terms of what are you going to try and do to change, to bring us a bit more positivity or positive change to the world? That's what I'm about, because we've had a sort of 18 months of sort of oddness, So let's just bring some positivity now.
So that segues quite nicely into my next question, which is probably a bit deep for a Friday afternoon, but I asked this last week, and then it sent me on a weekend of kind of soul searching and trying to figure out what my why is. But like, what is your why? Like, what drives you? Why do you do what you do?
I think it's changed hugely for me. So up to probably 18 months ago, I was really driven by having a real positive impact in a business. And as I said, sort of being able to go at the end of the year, I could look back and go, right, I've done this, but also, so having a positive impact on the sort of business results, bearing in mind, trying to do something that ultimately your customer wanted, but also in terms of how I led the team and delivering through the team. So rather than just being focused on me, how I sort of showed up and led my team and managed my team, that was really, really important. Now it's changed. So, I was saying beforehand, I'm struggling a little bit now with, I now have clients. So I now have to change my working style and my day-to-day is dictated by other people. Yep. But I have this real desire now to give back. And that's the big thing for me. So yes, I'm going to work with a few clients, but I really want to help and support people and do this, try and drive this positive change. So, I'm doing a bit of that through mentoring. I'm helping, a few charities. I'm getting involved with stuff where I can really believe that through marketing, I can help drive positive change. And there's two areas that I'm very focused on. So one is the sort of environment. And the other is in terms of sort of cancer charities and everything else. So I'm trying to get involved with them. So it's probably just state of life and state of who I am. But this whole thing about giving back and positive change now is really important to me.
It was one of those things that I was really grappling with it over the weekend because I was trying to like articulate it, because one of my core drivers is just that I'm really competitive. Like, you could stick me in a room on my own and I will try and beat myself on some level. And that is one of my drivers, but it's a very difficult thing for me to articulate that in a way that is then driving positive change or kind of like a driving activity within the business as well, because that's not motivating for anybody other than me.
Yeah.
And so one of the things as a founder, I was trying to grapple with, okay, like, how can that be my driver but for the company as well? And now I've realized that actually, as long as my whys support the business whys, then that's okay. And I've realized that it's not just that I'm competitive. That is a huge driver, but actually it's because I like building things. And I think part of the qualification that I like, self-qualification I have around that, is that I'm trying to build. Like, winning means that I've built something successful. So it's that building piece, the winning piece, but then also, like you, I like seeing people grow. I would like to get to the end of my career and have a handful of people who've gone, actually, that time that I worked with Rich over what period of time or whatever made some sort of like positive difference to me. And they're the things that like excite me. But it took me a long time to because I thought I was just being a dick, being like, I just want to win. So.
But I think it's you can have big things in life that cause you to rethink. And I think probably for too long a time, I was defined a lot by my role. And I was really flattered in terms of people going, wow, you do great marketing, or can we talk to you, or can we do this, can you speak to one of the, campaign or marketing week? And that was really nice, because it felt like an acknowledgement that I'd done some really good work. But now I'm doing what I'm doing. It has completely changed, because I'm not going to get that level of gratification from it. And actually, I helped two people in the last few weeks help them write their applications for some internships. Because again, I think internships are really important.
Yep.
I think they help people try and work out what the right career path is. And I was on the panel for a lot of the internships at Hiscox. So I'm sitting there going, well, I know what we look for, so I can help other people craft that and help them with their applications. And that, for me now, I get a real buzz from doing it. It's just a very different sense of one way of working.
Yeah. So big top line question to finish it all off with. What do you think is next in marketing?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's a really big question. I mean, one of the things is I think there'll be a lot of focus on the sort of, it's not traditional brand marketing. I don't want to say it's going to be some bit of tech, because I think, technology will always be there to help in the world where you have sort of multi channels and multi ways of engaging with people.
Yep.
But I just think you're going to get, when optimism comes back and when budgets come back, I think you're going to get a little bit of resurgence in that sort of art of crafting an amazing ad. And it might not be TV, but it might not be outdoor radio, but I just think an ad that really, really connects with consumers and is there to sort of help drive awareness and brand affinity. But I think you're probably going to get a little bit more of that coming back, and a bit more of the craft, and probably slightly more agencies will get braver briefs where brands are going to sit there and go, we've had the last 18 months or 2 years to really think about what's happened to us and who we really want to be, and who, what are the messages we want to try and communicate, and how we're going to engage with our customers again. And they're going to get these quite exciting, brave briefs out there. And I think we're going to start to see some amazing work. Well, fingers crossed we will in the next sort of 6 months or 18 months.
All right. Thank you for that, Annabel. I really enjoyed that. And if anybody wants to follow up with you, how can they reach out to you?
So via LinkedIn. So
Yep.
on LinkedIn, go and find me. I also have my own website. It's not brilliant, but you can. So it's just annabelvenner.com. So go on there, and there's a contact me page on there. And I'm very responsive, so I will, unless I get absolutely inundated, but I will reply to everybody who contacts me. And I do plea for you, if honestly, the mentorship, really important. Go out there, try and do it. Find somebody within your company or externally who will provide you with a bit of support, but you have to drive it. Don't expect your mentor to drive it for you.
And you're on Clubhouse too, I've seen.
I am. I got an invite to join today. Very excited. I have all I've done is register. I've yet to go and explore it, but I will do.
It takes a bit to get your head around it. I think I'm just getting to that point.
Okay.
But, the way I've described it to others is it's a bit like talkback radio mixed with like standing up on a stage. It's
nice.
A weird concept, but it does work once you get into it, and it becomes a little bit addictive.
I'll give it some time this weekend. I haven't got much else planned. No world parties.
So thank you, everybody. If you want to see Annabel's summit talk, you can see the replay at humanscomefirst.co.uk. Any parting wisdom other than the mental piece that you want to share, Annabel?
No, I think that's probably it. And just hope and pray that we're all out having fun again in a couple of months' time. By Easter. It'd be lovely for Easter.
Yeah, so the inbound conference is likely to be, which is out in Boston, is likely to be in October. And so I put it in our shared diary with my wife yesterday, and she just looked at me and she was like, "You're not going anywhere." And I was like, "But I'll hopefully be vaccinated by then." She's like, "Don't even think about it." I'm like,
No, I'm aiming for a summer holiday somewhere warm next to a beach. Gotta do it.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Next week we have Alex Glenn from Partner Programs joining us. So hopefully see you all next week as well. Right. Thanks, Annabel. See you later, everybody.